Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating, totally invisible systems that keep modern industry running safely. Seriously, have you ever looked at a massive industrial facility and wondered how they keep everything under control without, just exploding? Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today. We are decoding pressure transmitters, going all the way from the basic foundational theory right down to the precise calibration that makes them so incredibly reliable. We've got a lot of complex ground to cover, so here's our agenda. We'll be looking at 1. The invisible guardians, 2. The mechanics of translation, 3. The 420 milliamp standard, 4. The problem of drift, and finally, 5. The calibration protocol. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. The invisible guardians. I want you to think about this for a second. How exactly do nuclear power plants know when pressure is building up to dangerous levels? I mean, whether it's a massive nuclear plant, a volatile oil and gas rig, a local water treatment facility, or even just an everyday industrial boiler, these systems absolutely rely on one crucial piece of technology to prevent disasters. Because let's face it, a highly volatile chemical pipe can't exactly send you a text message when it's about to blow, right? They can't just guess. They need precise, continuous data. And that is exactly where our main subject comes in. A pressure transmitter is basically an industrial instrument that senses fluid pressure, whether that's a liquid, a gas, or steam. In short, the working principle of a pressure transmitter is kind of like a bilingual translator. It's constantly out there converting the physical, mechanical language of pressure into a digital electrical language that industrial control systems, like PLCs or SCADA systems, can actually understand and use. Moving on to Section 2, the mechanics of translation. So how does it actually do that? Well, it takes 4 vital steps. First, the process fluid enters the port and hits a sensing element. Second, that applied pressure physically deforms the sensor, so maybe it bends a little diaphragm, which then stretches out a strain gauge. Third, the internal electronics take over to condition that signal. They amplify it, they filter out any messy electrical noise, and they compensate for temperature changes. And fourth, it converts all that nice, clean data into a standard output. If you follow this simple working diagram, you can really trace that linear journey. Raw physical force hits the diaphragm, moves straight through the electronics, and outputs directly to the control system monitoring the plant. It's just a beautifully simple flow, and it happens instantly and continuously, turning those mechanical shifts into absolute critical data. Section 3. The 420 milliamp standard. Now, while there are a few different ways these transmitters can actually output their data, like using a voltage range from 0 to 10 volts, or even digital communication protocols like HART, Foundation Field Bus, or Profibus, the industrial world really heavily relies on one specific current standard. The 4 to 20 milliamp range is the undisputed industry standard here. In this setup, 4 milliamps perfectly translates to 0% pressure, which we call the lower range value, and 20 milliamps represents 100% of the measuring range, or the upper range value. Now, you might be wondering, why use 4 milliamps instead of just 0 for 0 pressure? Well, it's actually a brilliant safety feature. If a wire suddenly breaks, the signal drops all the way to absolute 0, and the system instantly knows there's a fault, not just an empty pipe. Pretty clever, right? All right, Section 4, the problem of drift. So, ask yourself this. What actually happens if our trusty translator starts giving the wrong translation? An uncalibrated transmitter isn't just some simple math error. If it drifts and starts sending the wrong electrical signal because of everyday wear and tear on that diaphragm, well, that is a potential disaster in a chemical plant or high-pressure steam system. The control room might literally sit there thinking everything is totally fine while a pipe is about to burst. And this is exactly why pressure transmitter calibration is absolutely mandatory. It's this meticulous process of comparing and adjusting the transmitter's output against a known, flawless standard. The primary objective of calibration here is to verify accuracy, adjust those 0 and span points if they've drifted, check for linearity, and of course ensure strict compliance with plant safety procedures. It is quite literally how we keep these invisible guardians on it. To pull this off correctly, a technician needs a highly specific toolkit. They have to isolate the instrument and precisely measure both the physical pressure going in and the electrical current coming out. A typical calibration setup requires essential equipment, things like a certified pressure calibrator to simulate that pressure, a 24-volt DC power supply, a precision multimeter, and very often a HART communicator for those smarter transmitters. During the calibration process, a technician primarily makes 2 major adjustments when things get out of alignment. They fix the 0 or lower range value and they fix the span or upper range value. And honestly, this takes incredible precision because adjusting one can very easily mess up the other. It's a real balancing act. Basically, you apply 0% pressure to lock in that 4 milliamp baseline, and then you apply 100% pressure to lock in the 20 milliamp top line. Which brings us to Section 5, the calibration protocol. The calibration procedure itself is incredibly strict, as you'd probably expect. In the first half of our 8-step process, we safely isolate the transmitter from the process, verify its configuration, like checking tags and units, and then perform a really precise 5-point pressure test. We systematically apply known pressures from 0 up to 25, 50, 75, and finally 100%. And then we immediately follow that up with a downscale check back to 0 to test for hysteresis. That just means we're checking to see if the sensor acts differently when the pressure is falling versus when it's rising. Then, for the final 4 steps, the math really kicks in. We calculate any deviation from the expected milliamps. If the error happens to fall outside the plant's strict tolerances, we carefully adjust the 0 and span if we need to. Then, we actually rerun the entire test just to get our as-left verification, basically proving that our fixes actually worked. And finally, we can safely restore the unit to active service. Now take a look at this example 5-point calibration table for a 0 to 100 psi range. Notice how the applied pressure correlates beautifully to that expected 4 to 20 milliamp output. But really pay attention to the measured column here. It's rarely mathematically perfect, right down to the thousandth of a milliamp out in the real world. For example, at 50 psi, we expect exactly 12 milliamps, but we measured 12.002. So it's the technician's job to calculate those tiny little errors against the allowable tolerances. Throughout this whole meticulous process, we are constantly hunting for specific faults. We're looking for baseline 0 errors, span errors up at the top end, linearity deviations, where the middle points don't form a perfectly straight line, upscale and downscale hysteresis differences, and overall repeatability. We have to ensure that the exact same input always gives the exact same output, every single time. So the next time you drive past a sprawling industrial facility or a massive power plant, I really want you to ask yourself, how many of these perfectly calibrated, completely invisible translators are working tirelessly right now to keep you safe? They're out there, quietly converting the intense physical forces of our world into a digital language we can actually safely control. Pretty amazing, right? Keep questioning how the world around you works, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.
A pressure transmitter senses process pressure, converts it into an electrical signal, and sends a standard 420 milliamp signal to the control system for monitoring and control.